Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadari. Yashodha Nandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodha Nandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tiranachari. Yamuna Tiranachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 27, and today we'll be studying text number 5. No, pardon me. Let's see here. Do you know Rohan Prabhu? Yeah. Text 5. Great. Okay. Here we go. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna. Okay. Would you be able to show the screen? Atta eva shanai chitam prasaktam asatam pate bhakti yogena tivrena viraktya cha nayet vasham. Ata eva shanaishchitam prasaktam asatam pate bhakti yogena tivrena viraktya cha nayed vasham. Ata eva shanaishchitam prasaktam asatam pate bhakti yogena tivrena viraktya cha nayedvasham. Ata eva shanaishchitam prasaktam asatam pate bhakti yogena tivrena viraktya cha nayedvasham.
Ata eva shanaishchitam
Ata eva shanaishchitam
prasaktam asatam pati
prasaktam asatam pate
bhakti yogena tivrena
bhakti yogena tivrena
viraktya cha nayedvasham.
viraktya cha nayedvasham.
Ata eva shanaishchitam
Ata eva shanaishchitam
prasyaktam asatam pati
prasaktam asatam pate
bhakti yogena tivrinena
bhakti yogena tivrena
virikta cha nayedvisham.
viraktya cha nayedvasham.
Okay, online.
Okay. Sorry, Prabhu. Ataiva shaneshchitam
Ata eva shanaishchitam
prasaktam asatam pathi
prasaktam asatam pati
bhakti yogena tivrena
bhakti yogena tivrena
viraktya cha nayedvasham.
viraktya cha nayedvasham. That's it.
Wait, you want to ask Mataji if she wants to do it? What, you can ask this Mataji. Hare Krishna, welcome. Would you like to chant the verse?
We're doing Srimad Bhagavatam class right now. If you'd like to chant the verse before we start, do you want to chant?
Ata eva sanaschittam
Ata eva shanaishitam
prasaktam asatam pate
prasaktam asatam pati
bhakti yogena tivrena
bhakti yogena tivrena
viraktya cha nayedvasam.
viraktya cha nayedvasham. Thank you. Okay, call and response. Ata eva, therefore, Shanai, gradually, Chittam, mind, consciousness, Prasaktam, attached, Asatam, of material enjoyments, Pate, on the path, Bhakti Yogena, by devotional service, Tivrena, very serious, Viraktya, without attachment, Cha, and, Nayet, he must bring, Vasham, under control. Translation. It is the duty of every conditioned soul to engage his polluted consciousness, which is now attached to material enjoyment, in very serious devotional service with detachment. Thus, his mind and consciousness will be under full control. Purport. The process of liberation is very nicely explained in this verse. The cause of one's becoming conditioned by material nature is his thinking himself the enjoyer, the proprietor or the friend of all living entities. This false thinking is a result of contemplation on sense enjoyment. When one thinks that he is the best friend to his countrymen, to society, or to humanity, and he engages in various nationalistic, philanthropic, and altruistic activities, all that is just so much concentration, all that is just so much concentration on sense gratification. The so-called national leader or humanist does not serve everyone. He serves his senses only. That is a fact. But the conditioned soul cannot understand this because he is bewildered by the spell of material nature. It is therefore recommended in this verse that one engage very seriously in devotional service of the Lord. This means that one should not think that he is the proprietor, benefactor, friend, or enjoyer. He should always be cognizant that the real enjoyer is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the basic principle of Bhakti Yoga. One must be firmly convinced of these three principles. One should always think that Krishna is the proprietor, Krishna is the enjoyer, and Krishna is the friend. Not only should he understand these principles himself, but he should try to convince others and propagate Krishna consciousness. As soon as one engages in such serious devotional service of the Lord, naturally the propensity to falsely claim lordship over material nature disappears. That detachment is called vairagya. Instead of being absorbed in so-called material lordship, one engages in Krishna consciousness. That is control of consciousness. The yoga process necessitates controlling the senses. Yoga indriya samyama. Since the senses are always active, their activities should be engaged in devotional service. One cannot stop their activities. If one wants to artificially stop the activities of the senses, his attempt will be a failure. Even the great yogi Vishvamitra, who was trying to control his senses by the yoga process, fell victim to the beauty of Menaka. There are many such instances. Unless one's mind and consciousness are fully engaged in devotional service, there is always the opportunity for the mind to become occupied with desires for sense gratification. One particular point mentioned in this verse is very significant. It is said here, prasaktam asatam pati. The mind is always attracted by asat, the temporary, material existence. Because we have been associated with material nature since time immemorial, we have become accustomed to our attachment to this temporary material nature. The mind has to be fixed at the eternal lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. Savayamana Krishna Padara Vindayo. One has to fix the mind at the lotus feet of Krishna. Then everything will be very nice. Thus the seriousness of Bhakti Yoga is stressed in this verse. So the translation again. It is the duty of every conditioned soul to engage his polluted consciousness, which is now attached to material enjoyment, in very serious devotional service with detachment. Thus his mind and consciousness will be under full control. Ata eva shanaischittam prasaktam asatam bhati bhakti yogena tivrena viraktya cha nayed vasham. Thank you very much, devotees, for being here. I first of all offer my respectful obeisances to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON, and also to all the assembled devotees. Please do pardon me for any mistakes and offenses. Please bless me so we can have a nice discussion today. So here, Kapila Dev is explaining to his mother Devahuti about devotional service, and we have just heard about the fundamental principles of material nature. So material nature is made up of many, many elements. In the Sankhya system, then we have the gross material elements, we have the sense objects, we have the sense the knowledge acquiring senses, we have the working senses, and so on and so forth. And the culmination of all of this is, if one analyzes all of these various aspects of the material world, thank you, then one ultimately comes to, or one must come to the point of worshiping the Lord of this creation, who has arranged such a system. Every single object, which is found within human society, is a product of some creative mind. And then one can say, well, what about nature? So this wood, of course, this is a particle board. This was designed. But say this piece here, this is a piece of hardwood. And this piece cannot be designed in any laboratory, even if we try. Though we make a good pass at it using various materials that we can find in our... we are very proud of such, polymers and metals and alloys and all these things in human society. But all of them are made from base substances which we find within the material world. And those things we didn't make. I cannot make a tree. I cannot make a mountain. And in the mountain I find the rock and the ore and the various materials. With those I make different materials. Then with those materials I put them together and I make a microphone or a building and so on and so forth. So who's the creator of this? Who's the proprietor? Who's the owner? That's the question for an intelligent human being. If we don't ask that question and become grateful and appreciative of that designer, then it's a slap in the face. And that slap in the face is punishable by the laws of nature. And so this next chapter, called Understanding Material Nature, speaks about what happens to somebody who, or what should somebody do who's actually entrapped within this material nature. And so this verse, Kapila Dev is giving an amazing, essential verse here where he says, it is the duty, right? Ata eva, therefore, so it's connected with the verse before, which says that the living entity or the jiva, he's actually transcendental. He's actually fully spiritual. You and I, we're actually aham brahmasmi. I am spirit. I'm not this matter. I'm not this body. It's said in Gita, dehinosmin yata dehe komaram yovanam jara tata dehantara praptir diras tatra namuyati. That after, just as I am transferring in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, similarly, I'll get another body at death. The rascals are so silly that even though you've been changing bodies so many times, and now you have an old man's body, right? You used to have a baby body, now you have an old man's body. We are so foolish in the material world, we say, no, there's nothing after death. You just disappear. What about the changes that have been happening every second of your life in your body? You are the same conscious entity within the body, and that's the thing. They call it in science the hard problem of consciousness. They cannot actually understand what is the source of consciousness, right? But the Vedas have given the jiva is conscious. The soul, Atma, is conscious. So we have to actually attain to this Atma Tattva Gyan, where we know the soul in truth. I have knowledge of the soul in truth. It means I understand. I am not this body. I'm actually transcendental to this material nature. And that's exactly what Kapila Deva is instructing to his mother. He says, actually a living entity means you all, the souls, and everybody other embodied being, is transcendental to material existence. But because of his mentality, actually the mind is in the heart, according to Bhagavatam. The mind is in the heart. Because of his mentality of lording it over material nature, his material existential condition does not cease. Why? Because he has an attitude or a mentality to everything he sees, he wants to own it and control it and enjoy it. That means the Lord. He wants to lord it over. Means we see something, we think, I will take it for myself. This is the basic essence of material consciousness. Whatever I see, it's for me to enjoy. So then he says, his material life doesn't stop. What is that phrase? That phrase is this: Sangsritir na nivartate. His material life doesn't stop. Sangsritir, material existence condition, not nivartate. He doesn't leave it. Na nivartate, not ceasing. Not ceasing, right? So then, just as in a dream he is affected by all sorts of disadvantages. Meaning that in a dream you may be chased by a tiger. The tiger is chasing you. Actually, it's an illusion. But you don't get out of the dream because you have a sleepy condition. So you keep sleeping and you keep suffering in the dream. Just like us. We're sleepy to the Lord's dominion over our lives. We are sleepy to the fact that He is the Bhoktaram Yagyatapasam. He's the Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. That He is the Suridam Sarvabhutanam. He's the proprietor. He's the enjoyer. He's the enjoyer. He's the proprietor. And He's the friend of everyone. And Krishna says, Gyatva mam shantim richchati. Gyatva, knowing that, mam, myself, as those three things, those three descriptions, enjoyer, proprietor, and friend, then shantim richchati, you will be blessed with a peacefulness in your life. And this verse, today's verse, text number 5, Prabhupada hits this on the head again. Because Kapila Dev has said, Ata eva shanais chitam, means gradually. Therefore, ata eva, therefore, gradually, shanai. It's stated in the Bhagavad Gita, shanai, gradually, step by step, cut this ignorance. Shanai shanar uparamed buddhyadriti gritiyaya atma sangstam manakritva nakinchid api chintayed. What is it? Gradually, step by step, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence, sustained by full conviction, and thus the mind should be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else. This is Bhakti Yoga. One can try to do this through other means of yoga. Means breathing, postures, charity, demigod worship. But it's not going to be as fast as the process of bhakti. Because what happens with bhakti yoga is you don't have to stop any activities artificially. Say, in the heart, there's the desire to enjoy. We have it. It's there. We have this mentality to enjoy. We see a beautiful flower. I want to have it on my head. I want to taste it. I want to touch it. I want to smell it. I want to hear it. Right? And what does that mean? That's called sense gratification. We want to please our own senses. Asatam, prasaktam, asatam pati. He is actually on the path of being attached to material enjoyments. Asat. Asat. Now, there's an awesome verse which says, Asat Sangha Tyaga Vaishnava Achar. Asat Sangha Tyaga Vaishnava Achar. What does that mean? Achar means to act. Acharya means one who teaches by action. Means he walks the talk. Right? He walks the talk of the scriptures. Acharya. And he teaches it. So that's also given here in the purport. We should not only practice Krishna consciousness, we should give it to others. Now, Asat Sangha Tyaga Vaishnava Achar. Who is the Vaishnav? He gave up the Asat Sangha. Sangha means union or connection. Asat Sangha Tyaga. He renounced it. What does that mean? That means that he actually renounced the association of materialistic people who have the mentality to think that they're the controllers. And instead, right, you spend time with devotees who want to worship Krishna. You know? What does that mean? That means that Sangha, that sadhu Sangha is going to actually be the nourishing factor in our bhakti. And it's stated by many and wonderful personalities that this sadhu sangha is the most important of all the aspects of our devotional service, in the way that when we spend time with somebody who likes to chant, then we end up chanting, which is the main purificatory process for this age. And what is chanting? Chanting means I want to do what Krishna wants. Means I'm begging him to tell me what he wants. I'm begging him to instruct me how to serve him. You know? That's what chanting is. And that's why we chant with the vow. It's called Sankhya Purvaka. Sankhya Purvaka means a strength of a number. Now one can say, why should I have to chant a number? You devotees, some may criticize, you devotees are worried about numbers. You're not worried about devotion. And we say, how can I ever be worried about devotion if I'm not even worried about numbers? You see? One is coming from a platform of pride, and one comes from a platform of helplessness. We call it false pride. Krishna calls it false pride in the Gita. Prabhupada translates false pride. Real pride means I'm proud of Krishna. He is the greatest. I'm proud of Prabhupada. I'm proud to be a recipient of their mercy. I'm not proud of myself. What shall I be proud of myself? You know? Whatever bhakti I perform, it's by their mercy. I didn't even know who is Krishna before my devotee friends told me. My mother or my father or Vyasadeva. Right? So today is known as the Guru Purnima or Vyasa Purnima. It's the full moon night tonight or today. And it's also the disappearance day of Sanatana Goswami. So Sanatana Goswami, he followed in the footsteps of Vyasadeva and as well as all the other representatives of Vyasadeva. And therefore we call the appearance day of the spiritual master Vyasa Puja, because he is actually the representative of the Parampara. you know? And what did Vyasadeva do? Vyasadeva has given us this scripture which talks all about bhakti. And what is it? We have to actually practice the bhakti yoga. What is the end? Actually, so Srila Vyasadeva, he gave the Vedas. The Vedas are in 4 parts: Yajur, Atharva, Rig, and Sama. Now, he summarized those 4 in what's called Vedanta Sutra, which means you take all the knowledge and you codify it. Means there's something called spark notes or bullet notes. And the concept is you listen to a discourse or a class and you essentialize the points into one word. You listened very attentively, so you're able to synthesize that with one tagline word. And as soon as you mentally click on that link, it will open up remembrance of the various aspects of the knowledge. In this way, you can hear very attentively, summarize very strategically, and then later you can read those words and you will open a whole remembrance of a whole concept. This is something that, has been recommended by some of our ISKCON mentors to practice this style of note-taking in classes and things, to compartmentalize the concept, and hear very attentively, and then be able to refresh it later with one word. You just think of one word and you'll open up this whole concept of philosophy and the interactions, that you heard in the class. So the idea is, the point about this notes is, I brought up the note point for Vyasadeva. Very good, thank you. So codified, it's been codified. He says, Atato Brahma Jignasa. That's one phrase, but it's connected to so much knowledge in the Vedas. What does it mean? It means now that you can hear the Vedas, now you're a human being. Atato Brahma Jignasa. Now start thinking about what is Brahman. Start asking, what is Brahman? What is spirit? What is actually transcendental to this material world? What is Sat? Right? So he codified all of it. And then what did he do? Vyasadeva was actually depressed. Just like many writers. They never feel good enough that they did it right or they put it down in the right way and everything. And what is the problem with such writers? Narada Muni comes to Srila Vyasadeva and says, you're depressed because you didn't write about Krishna. You wrote about all this other stuff without saying Krishna's name, and everyone is getting confused and worshiping demigods and all this other stuff. And they're getting into yoga and all these other things. That's why you're depressed, because you didn't get the essence. So he says, now you write Srimad Bhagavatam. Only write about Krishna and Krishna Bhakti. Write about Bhakti. So then, what is it? He gave Srimad Bhagavatam. So he took the Vedanta Sutra, which is the codified 4 Vedas, and then he distilled it even more. Therefore, it's called the ripened fruit of Vedic knowledge. And what do we call Srila Prabhupada? He was given the title Bhakti Vedanta. Bhakti Vedanta. What does that mean? After all the Vedas are over, Bhakti Anta. Bhakti Veda Anta. Vedanta. So Vedanta, it becomes Veda, and Anta means Vedanta. So Vedanta, after all the Vedas are over, what happens? Bhakti. You should take to Bhakti Yoga. And what is that Bhakti Yoga? It should be done very seriously. It should be done Bhakti Yogena Tivrena. This actually comes at least twice in the Bhagavatam. Bhakti Yogena Tivrena. It's stated in another part of the Bhagavatam that one, under every circumstance, sarvakamo, akama sarvakamo va, mokshakama udaradi, bhakti yogena tivrena. Then the last part I forgot. It means if you have no desires, which means you're already a pure devotee, like Mother Yashoda or gopis, or the cowherd boys, the gopas, right? You're like them. We should never think we're like them. That was the point I was bringing from the beginning. We should think, I'm very far away from them. I'm very far, right? So the point is, if you're like them, or sarvakamo va, or you want everything there is in this material microphone, I will have it. Car, I will have it. Woman, I'll have it. Man, I'll have it. Everything, I'll have it. Palaces and countries and power and money and prestige and everything, it's mine, for me. That's called sarvakamo. You have so many desires. Or mokshakama. You want moksha, which means you want to be done with your identity. You think you do. You think you want to stop existing and living in this material world of ups and downs. You want it to all be over. I'll just be light. I'll just be light again. I'll be light again, as if you were, before. No, you were a person before too. Anyway, mokshakama udaradi. Tivarana bhakti yogana. Serve Krishna with intensity. Bhakti yoga. Then you will actually get everything that you want. That's what's given. And so now, we have to do this bhakti yoga tivrena. Why? Because it will actually control the mind. And this was brought up in this purport. Prabhupada says, you can do all types of philanthropic activities and all these other things, but it's all about you. Somebody says, no, what are you talking about? I'm helping so many people. Yeah, it looks like you're helping. It looks like you're helping, but why are you helping them and not them? Because they're connected to you. I'm helping this group because they're my group. Right? And what if nobody saw your activities? You didn't get any credit. Or you don't even enjoy the credit that you give yourself by not letting anyone see that you're doing it. I'm such a good person. I'm not even letting anyone know that I'm doing it. That means jnani. Now you're enjoying a subtle pleasure of identity, but it's still a false identity because your body is doing it. Right? So it's very subtle, all these things, motivations. So Prabhupada says actually it's all selfish. But if you serve Krishna, then you'll do a really good thing for everyone automatically. And it's our duty to prove it. Right here in Kansas City, it's our duty to prove it. We can do more good for everybody anywhere by serving Krishna with full focus than they can do by splitting their attention in so many other paths. We have to prove it. We're called by Prabhupada. Prove it that this is a science. Prove it that the economy will get better in Kansas City. Prove it that everyone will become more righteous. Prove it that homelessness will go down. Prove it that all these things. Now, he didn't ask us exactly that way. But somebody may tell us and say, you're saying everything will happen by serving Krishna with full attention, very seriously. Right? And we say, I'm going to try. I'll be part of that study to test it. And actually we are doing it. We feed people, we make them really happy. And here's the thing, is if we give Krishna consciousness, then he never has to take birth again. So because they don't have any idea of the soul and transmigration, they can never appreciate the good we are doing. But we know we're saving lives every day, even if it looks like we're not doing anything for them. No, we saved his life. Even if he hears Hare Krishna one time, his whole life is changed. Eternally means I'll give him benefit life after life. Not just a little food now. Not just a little hospital care now. You know? Not just a little shelter now. I'll give him shelter under Krishna's feet forever. So this is the essence of the verse. And we should practice ourselves and we should give it to others. So thank you, devotees, for tolerating me. Hare Krishna. Would anybody like to add anything? Or ask any question? Okay, please forgive me for any offenses, and thank you for your kind attention. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to the Samut devotees. Vancha kalpatarubhishcha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Sanatana Goswami ki jai.